Good evening and welcome. Tonight we're going to flip through the last section of this neat little atlas. We're going to look at Antarctica, the Arctic, and the oceans. Once again, my cat is asleep on my bed and he's snoring really loud, so he just quieted down. So if he comes back on, starts meowing in his sleep and all that, I apologize. But anyway, let's just dive right in and check out Antarctica. Let me slide this book. Let me grab a pencil to slide this over so that we can read all the cool things about Antarctica. Earth's southernmost continent is the coldest region in the world, with temperatures reaching as low as negative 135.8 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 93.2 degrees Celsius. Despite the harsh conditions, the continent is home to a number of animals. However, climate change is a threat to both Antarctica's animals and landscape. Let's check out what we've got in Antarctica. Right here we have the snowy sheathbill. This bird does not swim, so it steals fish and eggs or chicks from penguins. Here's the South Polar skua. Up to 21 inches or 53 centimeters tall, this large bird breeds in Antarctica before returning to a life on the oceans. Here's the Antarctic ice fish. It's got a long face. A type of antifreeze in its blood enables this fish to survive in ice-cold water. Up here's the Antarctic minke whale. This small whale lives in groups of 2 to 4. The wandering albatross. With the largest wingspan of any bird, up to 11.5 feet or 3.5 meters, it spends most of its life in flight at sea. Here's the Antarctic toothfish. Growing up to 5.6 feet or 1.7 meters long, this fish feeds on squid, crabs, shrimp, and smaller fish. We have a dot. This is for the Vinson Massif, part of a large mountain range by the Ron Ice Shelf. This massif contains Antarctica's highest peak, Mount Vinson, at 16,050 feet, or 4,892 meters. Let's check out, let's go up here. Here's the southern elephant seal. The largest of all seals, males can be over 20 feet or 6 meters long and weigh up to 8,800 pounds or 4,000 kilograms. Here's the Antarctic fur seal. Males battle for territory during the breeding season when these seals gather in vast numbers on land. Up here's an orca. In fact, the largest of all dolphins, this is one of the world's most powerful predators. Remember, killer whales are not whales, they're dolphins. Over here's the colossal squid. This squid is up to 46 feet or 14 meters long and has sharp hooks on its limbs. Yikes. Here's a sweet Adelie penguin. Parents take turns in feeding and keeping their eggs safe from predators. Let's hop over here and check out the geographical South Pole. Right here, there's a dot for it too. This is Earth's southernmost point. The ceremonial South Pole, situated 590 feet or 180 meters from the geographical South Pole, is marked by a pole surrounded by the flags of the nations that signed the Antarctic Treaty, an agreement that set aside the continent for scientific research. So let's read for the dot right here, the South Pole Station. The Amundsen Scott Research Station is located at the geographical South Pole. First opened in 1956, it can house up to 200 researchers. Oh, there's more dots down here. Let's see what we've got. Let me slide this a little more. Hold on. There we go. My desk is very small. So right here, for this dot, we have the Ross Ice Shelf. This enormous layer of floating ice is over 370 miles or 600 kilometers long. About 90% of its ice lies underwater. Wow. And then right here we have Mount Erebus, one of the world's most active volcanoes, and at 12,448 feet, or 3,794 meters, the highest active volcano in Antarctica. Mount Erebus has a very rare bubbling lava lake. Did you know there is a lava lake in Antarctica? Did you know that this is not the only volcano? Because it says this is the highest active volcano in Antarctica, which means there's more active volcanoes in Antarctica. I didn't know before reading this that there was even a single volcano in Antarctica, much less active ones, right? Here's an emperor penguin. The largest of all penguins has an average height of 45 inches or 115 centimeters. They can survive in temperatures as low as negative 76 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 60 degrees Celsius. Another sweet penguin is the gentoo penguin. These speedy swimmers have red beaks, white feather caps, and orange feet. So cute. I love penguins. My favorite bird, hands down. And I think the very last thing on here, is the snow petrel. These birds nest on cliffs but prefer to gather on pack ice. And then there's always a fact down at the bottom that's too long for me to get into frame. It says Antarctica contains about 90% of the world's ice. If it melted, world sea levels would rise by about 200 feet or 60 meters. Apparently I can't say Antarctica. Glad that in my country series I'm going to do it very, very, very last after I do all the countries. Meanwhile, let's head up to the very far north and cover the Arctic. Unlike Antarctica, the Arctic is not a continent, but the area of frozen waters surrounding the North Pole. It includes the northernmost parts of 3 continents: North America, Europe, and Asia. Many different animals have made a home in this inhospitable region. Let's meet some of them. Slide this over. Over here is the bowhead whale. These whales can break through ice to breathe and can live for up to 130 years. Alright, next we have the Arctic skua. These aggressive seabirds steal food from other birds by attacking them in mid-air. The Arctic hare. These hares do not hibernate and find food under the snow. The Bewick's swan. Each individual swan has a unique pattern on its black and yellow beak. The spectacled eider. After breeding on the coasts of Alaska and northeast Siberia, these ducks gather in spots of open ocean in the pack ice. Very cute. The Arctic tern. These small birds fly 43,496 miles, or 70,000 kilometers, between the North and South Poles every year. The guillemot. I'm not sure. It's very French looking. Found throughout the Arctic, these birds can dive as deep as 197 feet or 60 meters to find food. Let's look up here at the Siberian salamander. This amphibian can survive in very low temperatures by deep freezing itself until temperatures start to rise. Here's the rock ptarmigan. This bird changes its white feathers to speckled brown in summer. Down here's the Greenland shark, which, can you see it? Yeah. Let me move this up just a smidge. It's because it's so cute. Look how sweet it looks. A slow swimming scavenger, this shark sniffs out dead animals in the water. And then, surprise, there's a dot right there. I know, when I was first reading this to practice before filming, I was trying to find this everywhere. I literally scanned this page for like 10 minutes until I went like this. And there it is. So let's read about it. That is Lake Hazen. Let me just go like this. One of the largest lakes in the Arctic region, the 883 feet or 269 meter deep Lake Hazen in Canada is frozen over for most of the year. Before we go up here, let's read about the Brent goose. Unlike other geese, the Brent flies in long lines instead of a V shape. Wonder why that is. So here is the North Pole. Earth's northernmost point is situated on an ice cap. Below it, the Arctic Ocean is around 13,800 feet deep, or 4,200 meters deep. Here's a beluga whale. White in color, this small whale speaks in clicks and whistles. The Siberian crane. This bird easily snips off roots and catches fish with its saw-edged beak. The porbeagle shark. Also pretty cute, but not as cute as this guy. This shark grows up to 8.2 feet, or 2.5 meters in length, and feeds on squid and fish. The narwhal. The tusks of this small whale can grow up to 9.8 feet, or 3 meters. And probably the most iconic animal of the Arctic, the polar bear. A powerful predator, this bear roams over land and pack ice to find prey. The blunt-nosed six-gill shark. Here we go. This fast-swimming shark has 6 gills instead of the 5 normal in most sharks. I wonder why that is. Here's a sweet little puffin down here in Iceland. 60% of the world's puffins live in Iceland. What else do we have? There's a lemming. Soft, warm fur helps this rodent stay active through the winter. And here's a spiny dogfish. This fish is one of the most numerous species of shark in the world. Oh, there's a dot here. That is Murmansk in Russia. Around 300,000 people live in the Russian port of Murmansk, the largest city inside the Arctic Circle. And we have an ermine. This mammal's coat turns from brown to white in winter for camouflage. And then one last dot right here. This is Yenisei. The Yenisei River in Russia is the largest river to flow out into the Arctic Ocean. Its 31-mile or 50-kilometer wide estuary is frozen for long parts of the year. Oh, and then the fact. Down here it says the Arctic sea ice is up to 13 feet or 4 meters thick. The area it covers changes significantly from winter to summer. All right, 3 maps left of the oceans. First up, of course, we have the Pacific Ocean. The Pacific is by far the world's largest ocean. At its widest point, stretching from Colombia to Indonesia, it extends for 12,300 miles, or 19,800 kilometers, almost halfway around the world. The deepest trenches on Earth can be found here, along with massive volcanoes that rise up from the ocean's floor. So let's start at the bottom and go all the way around. Let me slide this back up. Here we go. So it looks like we're starting off at the Tonga Trench. Lying north of New Zealand's North Island, this trench reaches an average depth of 34,448 feet, or 10,500 meters. Here's New Caledonia. This island and New Zealand are all that remain of an ancient continent called Zealandia that was half the size of Australia. The numbers here are major access points to the ocean. So this one right here, it says over in this box over here is the Torres Strait. Moving on to the Mariana Trench. Slide it back down. The Mariana Trench. The lowest point on Earth is its deepest point, lies almost 7 miles or 11 kilometers beneath the Earth's surface. Up here are the Emperor Sea Mounts. These underwater mountains extend northwest from Hawaii Each mount is named after a Japanese emperor, hence the name. There's some more major access points here. This one is Tsushima, and this one is Tsugaru Strait. Up here we have the Aleutian Trench. It's kind of in the crease of the book. Let me flatten it a bit. The Aleutian Trench right here. A chain of volcanic islands runs alongside this trench, which extends from Alaska in the United States to the Kamchatka Peninsula in Russia. Here in Hawaii we have Mauna Loa, measuring 29,500 feet or 9,000 meters in height from the ocean floor to its summit. The world's largest active volcano looms over Hawaii. There's an access point here. It is the Panama Canal. All the way down here, we have the Peru-Chile Trench, which goes all this way. This 3,660-mile long trench, or 5,900-kilometer long trench, is the longest in the Pacific Ocean. It follows the line of the Andes Mountains. Way down here, let me move this again. There we go. The East Pacific Rise. You can see it all up here. East Pacific Rise. This volcanic ridge stretches from California in the United States to Antarctica. It rises about 6,562 feet or 2,000 meters above the sea floor. And one last access point, the Strait of Magellan. The little fact at the bottom down here says all 7 of the Earth's continents could easily fit into the Pacific Basin. Isn't that wild? Next we have the Atlantic Ocean. Let's read about it. If I can carefully slide this over. There we go. The Atlantic Ocean. The Atlantic is the world's second largest ocean. It stretches from the Arctic to the Antarctic, separating Europe and Africa from the Americas. The Atlantic Ocean covers about 1/5 of the planet's surface, is home to some of the world's richest fishing waters, and contains a plentiful supply of gas and oil. Let's start at the bottom again. We'll lift this up, slide it up. There we go. Icebergs. The icebergs of the Antarctic are usually much larger than those found in the Arctic. They can reach lengths of up to 50 miles or 80 kilometers. Here's, again, the access point of the Strait of Magellan. It goes like this. Up here we have the Amazon fanning out from the river. Mud and clay from the Amazon River have settled on the ocean floor, forming a mound of sediment 502,000 square miles in size, or 1.3 million square kilometers. The Mid-Atlantic Ridge, which goes like this. Mid-Atlantic Ridge. This underwater mountain range runs for about 10,000 miles, or 16,000 kilometers along the ocean floor. Here is the Panama Canal. Up here's the Puerto Rico Trench. This trench stretches for 497 miles or 800 kilometers and contains the Atlantic Ocean's deepest point. An access point up here is the Straits of Florida. We have a dot up here for Iceland. With an area of 39,769 square miles, or 103,000 square kilometers, Iceland is the largest of the islands that lie on the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. It is home to more than 100 volcanoes, many of which are still active, as well as to many geysers and hot springs. Another access point. This is the English Channel. And here is Azores. These islands lie on the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Heat from volcanoes is used to supply the islands' electricity. Right here you would have the Strait of Gibraltar. And down here is St. Helena. It says, this tiny volcanic island has an area of just 47 square miles, or 122 square kilometers. It has been under British control since 1676. Right here is Tristan da Cunha. It says, lying 1,250 miles, or 2,000 kilometers from the nearest inhabited land, which is St. Helena. This is the most isolated group of inhabited islands in the world. Just over 250 people live there. And then lastly on this page, right down here, is the South Sandwich Trench. The deepest trench in the South Atlantic. It reaches depths of 27,651 feet below sea level, or 8,428 meters below sea level. And the little fact down here says the first person to fly across the Atlantic was Charles Lindbergh in 1927. It took him 33.5 hours. And the very last map in this book, kind of bummed that we finished the book, but it was a good one. I enjoyed it as much as you did. This is the Indian Ocean. The Indian Ocean is the smallest of the world's major oceans, but it provides important sea routes connecting the Middle East, Africa, and East Asia with Europe and the Americas. As with the Pacific Ocean, its warm waters are dotted with coral atolls and islands. Around 1/5 of the world's population live on its shores. Let's go bottom and around again. One last time. We have the Prince Edward Islands right here. These two small islands are the peaks of volcanoes that extend 3 miles or 5 kilometers from the seabed. Here's the Southwest Indian Ridge. This ridge connects the Mid-Indian Ridge to the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Interesting. Right here is Seychelles. This group of 115 islands lies 1,130 miles to the north of Madagascar, or 1,819 kilometers to the north of Madagascar, which is right here. It forms part of the Mascarene Plateau. And here is the Mid-Indian Ridge. Heading southeast from the Gulf of Aden, this ridge meets the Southwest Indian Ridge mid-ocean. Some famous access points. This is the Bab el-Mandeb. This is the Suez Canal. And this is the Strait of Hormuz, which there's a really cool picture of it. A satellite view. Look at that. Awesome. What else do we have? The Ganges Fan. Two of the world's great rivers, the Ganges and the Brahmaputra, flow into the Indian Ocean here. Sediment from the rivers collects in a huge fan shape in the Bay of Bengal. There's a dot here for the Indian Ocean tsunami, but that's kind of depressing, so let's just not read it. Right here we have an access point at the Strait of Malacca, and here is the Java Trench. The Indian Ocean's only major trench runs from 1,600 miles, or 2,570 kilometers, south of the Indonesian islands of Java and Sumatra. Here's the 90 East Ridge. 90 East Ridge. This ridge is named for the line of longitude it follows. Okay, that makes a little more sense. At 3,100 miles, or 5,000 kilometers, it is the world's longest sea ridge and also its straightest. Here's the Kerguelen Plateau right here. Only a few uninhabited islands remain what was once a small continent. And then down here is the Southern Ocean. The Indian, Pacific, and Atlantic Oceans come together in the seas around Antarctica, the Southern Ocean. And then our little fact down here says none of the Maldives, a group of about 1,200 islands south of India, is higher than 6 feet or 1.8 meters above sea level. So that is the end of this big old cool book of maps. Close this up very carefully. I know a lot of you enjoyed this book along with me. It was a good one. I'm very sad it's over, but I'm going to send this book off to my local used bookstore so that someone else can enjoy it. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video relaxing and educational. And I hope that you have a very good night. Good night.